Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Guess who is back in the studio with us, who played hooky with us last time around, but she's back.
It's Lupita.
It's Lupita. Lupita, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. It's a little chilly in here as always, but
why-
powering through.
Why is it so chilly in here? I am like freezing, but hey, what can I say? Folks, we are going to have a great show for you today as soon as I pull it up on my phone, because you know what? I don't use a pad anymore. I'm going to be modern like all the young adults and the Lupitas. I see Lupitas in the studio. No computer, no nothing. Everything is on the phone. How do you do that?
Everything's at the palm of your hand nowadays.
Everything is at the palm of your hand. So I decided I'm going to be young too. I'm going to do everything through the palm of my hands. I just lost my mic. Not my mic. I just lost my headset. Can I be heard? Yes, I can. Anyhow, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. Today, the title of the show is, guess what? The Democratic Party is not moving left. It is just correcting a fraud on Americans. Remember that, folks. The Democratic Party is not moving left. What happened is everybody moved away. So we are going to talk about that. I'm going to want to hear your voices on that. Telephone number 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Subtitle of the show: Americans must not buy into the Democratic Party moving too far to the left moniker. That's a moniker. Democratic Party moving too far to the left. No, it's not. It simply is not true, but repeating it makes one vote as if it is. Stop it now. Páralo ahora. Stop it now.
And I'll even say it in French.
Let me hear it in French.
Arrête.
Is that how you say it?
Arrête.
Arrête. Arrête. Well,
Because you know how the French roll their R's differently?
Yeah.
It's like very throaty.
Right.
So, arrête.
Okay, there you go. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, folks. So, stop the moving for left talk now. Democrats must not allow neither the Democratic Party establishment or the right wing to cauterize what progressive Democrats stand for as some cooky left wing move. We should hit them hard, head on, as we make what they stand for untenable. After all, everything they have done post-Reaganomics has been disastrous for too many in the middle class. So, the Democratic establishment will not be your ally, as those who fund them are all the same with the Republican establishment. The plutocracy keeps its chains on all sides to ensure they all stay in check. They allow marginal departures from the rightward movement center. We must not fall for that deception. We must not fall for that trap. Remember that. We are the progressives. We are the ones that stand up for the everyday Americans. We are the ones that stand up for the middle class. We are the ones that stand up for the poor. We are the ones that stand up for women. We are the ones that stand up for all those who need someone standing up for them. So that's what we're going to talk about. Telephone number is going to be, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. And I'll say it slower since everybody accuses me of speaking too fast sometimes. It is 713-526-5738. 5738. And I'm going to want to hear from you all because I want to hear you guys telling me, Egberto, yes, we're moving left, or Egberto, no, we're moving right. I think we have a phone call and all of that. So no, we're not going to do that. We are going to do things right. So folks, 713-526-5738. I have a blog of the week today that is half written. Most of it's going to be ad lib. But here's the thing about it. This is the blog that you're going to read on Sunday. You're going to read this blog on Sunday at the Daily Coast. That's the Sunday after 4th of July. I got to turn it in tomorrow. They told us we have to get our articles in on Wednesday instead of Thursday this time around. Anyhow, before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
And of course, we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew on Mondays at 6 p.m.
And this is one of my favorite shows, Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores and me, Lupita, on Tuesdays at 12 noon.
And Lupita brought the stars to the show. Now, and then following this, we got Jenner Asian Radio, a weekly radio program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground Bagra, Bollywood funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats. And when is that again?
Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m.
Anyhow, folks, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom, Lupita?
The corporatocracy.
We can't be influenced, man. That is because you own us. You are the ones who subscribe to us. You are the ones who fund us. You know what that means? If you fund us, we have to provide you the truth. I mean, sometimes you won't like the truth that we provide you, but that's why you're funding us. You want a radio station that gives you the unadulterated truth, no matter where it comes from. That is actually also the definition of progressives, right? We tell the truth. We don't try to cater anything. We have values, but we tell you the truth. But folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
And here goes the weekly blog post. Title of the weekly blog post: Democratic leftward move is but the correction of a fraud on Americans. That's all it is. It is but a correction of a fraud on Americans. Americans are buying into the idea that the Democratic Party is moving too far to the left. I don't really know what that means, too far to the left. The thing is, movement is relative. Have you ever been in a train and the train is stopped, right? And another train passes you by, right? You're in a stop train and it passes you by. And somehow you think you're moving because it's the other train that's really moving. That ever happened to you? Or you're in a car, you're in a stopped car, and you're kind of daydreaming and you just look to the side and a car passes you, but you feel like it is you who are moving and not the other car.
Yeah, it's kind of like a different perspective.
Right. It's called, the theory of relativity, all of that goes into that, right? And what it turns out is it doesn't matter what's moving if there's something moving relative to the other, right? Mm-hmm. And in politics right now, what we have is everybody's talking about the leftward move of the Democratic Party. Folks, it's no leftward move of the Democratic Party. It's that everything is moving where? Everything is moving to the right. And then they're saying, okay, if everything is moving to the right, those people that have all moved to the right, everything to them looks like it's to the left. So that's where we're at. The thing is, movement is relative. Is the party moving left, or is the status quo in reality a move to the right? That the status quo has turned into a move to the right. It has done in such a manner, folks, that you don't even realize it, right? The minimum wage in the early 80s was what, in the $6 range, $7 range, and guess what? It is still so. It is still so. Who's moving again? We have to understand these concepts. What exactly does moving to the left mean? If one listens to the mainstream media, irrespective of slant, just about every policy that's proposed by the progressive candidate is a left-wing idea. So they're saying everything is a left-wing idea, right? It is important to understand what the establishment is doing. And when I say establishment, I'm talking about the establishment in the aggregate. I don't care about party in this regard because they stick together. Do you really think there's a progressive billionaire and a conservative billionaire, or there's a billionaire who all thinks, well, let me hold this flank and you hold that flank? That's what it's all about. So when one categorizes, or rather, it is important to understand what the establishment is doing. It is a psychological ploy. When one categorizes a policy as left-wing before it is even explored, the tendency then going forward is to view it through that prism from the beginning. So if I come and I preempt you and I say, hey, that is a left-wing policy put out by, let's say, Bernie Sanders, or that's a left-wing policy put out by Elizabeth Warren, all the news media pick up left-wing policy. And then, of course, everybody and their mother wants to think that they are somehow in the center because we have defined the center as being sane. Center, sane. So everybody wants to be center. They want to be moderate. So they want to be sane. That's what they think it means. But you take a look at the policies, and we're going to go through that in a minute. And it turns out that most Americans want the policies that normally are called left. But what they are sane policies. They are what the middle wants, but have allowed others to call left. So let's go through policies that are considered left-wing and illustrate why it is not, and why the conservative rank and file should be happy to support it. Forgive student loans. Oh, that's a left policy. That's socialism. If we go ahead and say we are going to pay off student loans, but is it? What is one of the things that most of the folks on the right want? A vibrant economy. They love tax cuts, right? Well, let's redefine student loans as tax cuts, because they do the same thing, right? If we forgive a student loan, we throw a whole lot of money back into the economy, and these folks can use that tax cut to buy homes, right? Let's just redefine how we're going to call it a tax cut. So a student has a big loan, and they're paying $1,000 a month to cover that loan. Okay, let's give them a tax cut, because, you know, their taxes are probably over $1,000 a month. Let's give them a percentage of that back. Guess what they can immediately do with that tax cut that's not going to the wealthy, but it's a conservative idea. It's a tax cut. It's a tax cut, baby. Now they can go ahead and buy a home. Oh, my God. And if they buy a home, guess what they have to buy? They have to buy a washing machine. They have to buy tapestry, curtain, furniture. See, I forget about those.
And then
things.
as well as all the other things that are involved, like what's it called? Electricity,
right?
Cable, television, all that other stuff. The alarm system,
right?
A lot of stuff.
So what does that mean? What does that mean, Lupita? That means that they're going to spend money, and when you spend money in an economy, what happens?
Booms.
It booms. It booms. So, you know, this really, really, really left-wing idea is really a conservative idea also. Because guess what? It's a tax cut. We're going to give a tax cut to pay your loans off. So we give you the tax cut, you go pay the loan, and then you can buy a home and you circulate
spend more
that
money.
There you go. There you go. So what I'm trying to illustrate here, right, is we have a marketing problem on the left, right? We can actually cater all of these things that help the middle class in a manner that facilitates the conservatives having to adapt it as also a conservative idea. Okay, a woman control of her reproductive rights. In other words, we don't want to mess with a woman's reproductive rights. We don't want to be involved at all. Oh, left-wing idea. But is it? One of the biggest things about conservatism is keeping the confounded government out of your bedroom. So let's not market it as reproductive ideas or a woman or on abortion. Let's do it as don't ask, don't tell. In other words, we don't want the government in your life. We don't want the government to tell you what to do. We don't want the government anywhere close any of that. So what we do is we market that as the government has no involvement with a woman's privacy. And actually, that's the Supreme Court ruling on how they allow abortion, right? Privacy. But we have to remarket it as that as well. And guess what? Suddenly, isn't it hypocritical then to argue against that? Now, here's a big one. Here's the big one. Medicare for all. Oh, my God. That is such a left-wing idea. But is it? Now, think about it. We want everybody to pay into the system. We want absolutely everybody to pay their fair share. That's what Republicans always say. That's what conservatives always say. Well, Medicare for all, when you have to buy private insurance, guess what happens? You know, somebody's on the dole, right? And I'm just putting it into these people's terminology. Somebody's on the dole. So they're not all paying their fair share. Well, Medicare for all, guess what? Healthcare comes out of the general funds. If healthcare is coming out of the general funds and everybody has to pay taxes, meaning just like nope, you don't hear anybody complain about Social Security, right? Because Social Security comes out of your taxes on the top. Nobody has to go ahead and buy private Social Security. Nobody have to buy private Medicare. So nobody have to buy private healthcare insurance. And guess what that means then? Everybody has skin in the game. Isn't that a Republican idea? Isn't that a conservative idea that they want everybody to have skin in the game? What I am going to show you by all these policies is that conservatives don't have anything called conservative ideas. What they really mean is they have the plutocracy pushing policies to enrich a few. And they then try to cater those ideas and call them conservative. It's the big ploy. It's the big lie. It's the big deception. And guess who falls for the biggest deceptions of all? The people who call themselves conservatives. They are really on our sides and they don't even know it. Family leave. Oh, that is who's going to pay for it? Well, it comes out of general funds too, and we all pay for it. And why is it and how can we actually market that as well? Hey, don't you believe in family values? Don't you believe in a work ethic? Guess what family leave does? Family leave allows folks to take care of their kids when they most need it the most. Moral values, man. Isn't that one of your tenets? Your tenets is morality. If your tenet is morality and taking care of home, what is more moral than having family leave? And we go a little bit further, right? It's not only about family, it's about child care. Why don't we want child care? Everybody have access to child care. We want access to child care because we want the conservative ideas. We want people working. We want all people who can get into the workforce to get into the workforce. What stops a lot of people from getting into the workforce again? What stops a lot of people from getting into the workforce is that they can't afford child care. Well, you put that all into the system and they get child care, and guess what? They can get into the workforce. All these ideas, if marketed appropriately, does the right thing. The wealth tax. Everybody must have skin in the game. We must have a fair system. I'm not going to go to the wealth tax because you know what? That one only covers the rich. I don't even see why conservatives are concerned about how that is handled. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the phone lines because it is 20 after and I want to go ahead and get busy. But folks, please give us a call. We have lines wide open, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. 5738, and we are waiting on your call, so let them fly right in. Okay, let's go to línea número uno. Come on in, el señor Scott. Talk to me.
Well, left can mean different things.
Yes.
It generally does mean having more of a welfare state, which I support, at least to some degree. Mm-hmm. But it could also mean contracting government in some other respects. For example, Kamala Harris in her book says it's time to dismantle the war on drugs. Dean Becker wrote a book where he interviewed many people, including Grover Norquist, who said pretty much the same thing as Kamala Harris has said. Now, does that put Grover Norquist on the left?
No, you know what it really does? It actually proves something that is very important. The left-right debate is a hoax. That's what it proves. It proves that the left-right debate is nothing more than a hoax. Because
labeling.
Say that again?
I said it's labeling.
Right, Scott. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if we start talking about good policy, let me tell you where the left-right debate, who it helps. It helps the plutocracy, because they have us fighting on issues that we should not be fighting on. All those policies that I just called out there hurts nobody. What it does, however, it means that because all our taxing systems are progressive, that the people who are hoarding money today won't be able to hoard as much as they are currently hoarding, because we're going to take it back and recirculate it into the economy. But we should not feel bad about doing that, because all the money that the wealthy has is the excess labor, the excess intellect, the excess of everybody else. It is labor not paid. It is money not paid to others that they are accumulating. So don't feel bad for the wealthy, because most of them are doing just fine.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Well, thank you.
You have a wonderful day, Scott. Thank you so kindly. All right, let's go to línea número 3. Let's go to Johnny. Come on in, Johnny.
Hey, Alberto, you remember in 2011?
Yes, sir.
Arab Spring, Tunisia?
I remember it well.
Okay, and you remember one of the outgrowths of that same year that broke out was the pay petition for fast food and retail workers here in the United States, McDonald's in particular.
Yes,
they were trying to get, what was it, $10 an hour or $12 an hour?
Right, yes.
And then...
It was 12 an hour, yes.
Fast forward from 2011 to 2016, when the power elite pushed Trump on everybody into the Oval Office, they were still fighting for that. And a year later, into his office, they were still fighting for that. And here we are in 2019. Are fast food and retail workers making what they're supposed to be making?
No,
yes or no?
No, they're not.
Okay, so that's one example of how we're constantly being pushed to the right and suppressed from the right.
Yes.
Another example is when people come to say they do not want their water polluted by fracking and the XL project. We had a Democratic Party president who moved too slow on his feet, did not respond to pressure from us, and meantime, the elite was sending their goon squads that we pay for on us to beat up people, arrest people, suppress people, spy on people, threaten people.
Right.
There's too much of this going on constantly, and now they're getting even more brazen in the way they're handling these kids in front of TV cameras. They don't care. We are approaching critical mass here, and I'm really worried that they want civil war to break out.
John,
I said it.
I've
avoided saying that until now, but we have really got to get serious about removing Trump from office. We can't wait till the election. It's just not possible.
John, he was a test case, right? Because you know why the people are reacting the way they are, and you know all. If you take a look at what they're doing, when Ocasio-Cortez was out there at the jail for the young at the concentration camp, and by the way, folks, by definition, those immigrant kids are in concentration camps.
And they're being tortured.
Right, I'm not going to argue about it. Those are concentration camps. Period.
I could care less what Netanyahu has to say about anything. He's not an American. I am.
But here is the deal, okay? The reason that they're making a stink out of that is they want to change the argument. They want to change the discussion. They want to put your eyes somewhere else. We're not going to allow others to change what the reality is. America has turned into a country under Trump where we have established concentration camps, and we do it on purpose because we want to use it as an example. Now, here's the deal. Instead of militarizing the border, instead of creating concentration camps, why not create work camps? Why not create camps where we say, oh, we can build out, I saw this on the internet today, we can build out electrical systems on the border and have work for the people that are looking for work. And there's so much to do. It will be vibrant for the economy on both sides. Look, there's so much that can be done. Yes, sir.
We have an untapped resource in this country because we have no actual nationwide public service, just military service, which serves, guess who?
The plutocracy.
The ultra-wealthy.
Yes.
So instead of that, why not we adopt a unified required service after high school, non-military, where we can funnel some of these high school and college-age kids to help in nursing homes, to help single families mind their kids while they go to work, to go down to these so-called concentration camps and relieve these right-wingers of their duty because they're violating the law. They're violating international law and our own laws.
Johnny,
they need to be fired, and we can have volunteers take care of them until we find their parents.
Johnny, ironically, today on Morning Joe, and can you believe it? This was on Margin Joe, McChrystal and the former governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick, were on, and they were talking exactly what you're talking about there. And it is true.
High school volunteers?
All from high schools. We're talking college. We're talking about having people do service work now and having it a requirement, because that is one of the things that are lost in this country. But anyway, going back to the subject at hand, I think phone's ringing. Going back to the subject at hand, what we have here is Lupita. Yeah, going back to the subject at hand, what we have here is something that is very, very, very important, right? And that is, we have turned into a country that we cannot. That's going to. First of all, we're going to lose the moral authority that we once claimed to have had. But Johnny, I have to go to another line right now.
No, we've already lost it internationally. So it's up to us to physically remove him and pants from the White House. That's job one.
Thank you, my brother.
Have a good day.
Have a good one, brother. Okay, let's go. Línea número 4. Come on in, Tommy.
Hey, Beto, what's up, man?
Luchando con la vida como siempre. Talk to me.
Oh, come on now. You know I have no idea what you just said.
I know that, but that's okay.
Hey, do you have a pen and paper?
No, I don't, but go ahead and tell me.
Well, because you hit on a lot of points.
Yes.
And so this is me, Tommy Cruz, by the way.
I know it's Tommy. You think I didn't know it was Tommy Cruz, the guy with the trucks and all that good stuff? Come on, hermano. ¿Qué te
the
pasa?
guy that's not as smart as you.
El hombre que habla español that can't speak a darn thing in Spanish. That's a shame.
Poquito.
Nah, go ahead.
All right. Anyway, well, look, here, I'm going to make a few points. Yes. I don't know if you want to go do a back and forth.
No, go ahead. Make your point.
All right, a few points. One, my daughter, who just graduated. Oh, and by the way, thank you for the birthday shout-out. Appreciate that.
You know I'll always do that, man.
I was born Juneteenth.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you for that. Anyway, well, my daughter is going to Sam Houston State University.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations to her.
Congratulations to your daughter.
Yeah, thank you. She has a job, but not because she needs a job.
Right.
She works at Subway, and she makes minimum wage.
Right.
But here's the deal. Minimum wage isn't designed for a family. I think you know that. She probably makes maybe $90 to $100 a week. Okay. But here's the deal. She works because she wants to, because she just needs a little something extra to do for the summer. She has things going on. She has her. I'm divorced, by the way, but her mother and I, my daughter has clothes. She has everything she needs. Mm-hmm. Minimum wage isn't designed for a family. It's just not.
Okay.
You know, I made minimum wage. And here's the deal. That leads me to, I don't know how to subtly say this, but you can't raise a family on minimum wage, and here's why. Because it's not designed for that. And another thing is, if you make minimum wage, here's a thought. Maybe don't date. Maybe don't get a wife. Maybe don't impregnate somebody. Therefore, you're not left with the choice. Keyword, choice. You're not given the choice to make. All right.
Hermano, let me tell you something. First of all, I was with you. Hermano, I was with you. But let me tell you where I wasn't with you. First of all, I'm so happy that my favorite Republican Latino believes.
I am not Republican.
Yes, you
I
are.
do not like Donald
Yes,
Trump, by the
you
way.
are.
I like-
Because you
I
and I
like-
spoke.
I
I was on your
like-
show, buddy. But let's finish this. Let me finish talking about you. Okay?
Okay.
I am so happy that you realize that you can't live on minimum wage. But let me tell you a tenet that I strongly believe in.
A family can't.
A
My
family-
daughter can. My daughter's.
No, your
doing
daughter
good.
can't
Yeah,
either.
my
Your
daughter's
daughter
doing
could not live on minimum wage either, because if she has to have health insurance, which she could not afford on minimum wage, unless
He's on my insurance.
right, I understand that, but your daughter after 26 could not be. So hear me out now, hermano. This is what I'm
Okay.
trying to tell you.
Go ahead.
What I'm
Go ahead,
trying to
listen.
tell you is
Fine.
anybody who works 40 hours a week in whatever job they have should be able to support themselves, okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody who works 40 hours a week should be able to support
Who are
themselves.
theirs themselves.
Right.
Gotcha.
And what I'm saying is we must establish a minimum wage so that would happen. Now, I understand what you're saying. You're saying, oh, my daughter doesn't need it. Well, your daughter does not represent what America is. Okay?
Percentage-wise.
So what I'm saying, it's important for you to understand, don't look at it through your daughter's eyes or through your nice Republican business owner eyes. Look at it through somebody else's. You see, if I look at myself, right, if I decided I'm now no longer going to be altruistic, I can go back to engineering, right? And I can say, okay, good, I'll do all this stuff. But
I don't think you should,
Yeah.
seriously. But we need people like you out there, so keep doing what you're doing.
And
Because
here-
I'm not.
but what I'm saying,
I don't mean to sound rude when I
but
say
here's
that,
this. Here's this. You have to look through other people's eyes. That is the reason I do what I do.
And
The
that's
reason-
why I appreciate you
But-
doing what you do.
but
But
brother-
I do want to say this. If I could comment on the debate. There's
Go
just,
ahead.
just one thing I want to say from the debate.
Go ahead.
There was this one guy, I don't know their names, whatever. I don't really pay attention that much. But one guy said, he made this comment. He said, the CEO of McDonald's, he's making, I forgot the percentage, so much more
Right,
than
1,000 times.
than the guy that makes
Yes.
hash browns.
Yes.
Here's what I told my daughter, and what I'll tell your audience. Yeah, because he's a CEO, and I'm the guy that makes hash browns. So if somebody tries to tell me, like, hey, man, you know the CEO of McDonald's that you work for? Not me, but hypothetically, says, you know he makes $1 billion, and you're only making 6 or 7, whatever the minimum wage is. You're only making this much. My answer would be, yeah, I know that I make that much less than him, but yeah, that guy's the CEO of all the McDonald's. All I do is work at this one McDonald's making hash browns.
Okay. You know what I'm trying to do, Tommy? I'm trying to impart in people something called understand and know your worth. Because let's say my good friend Tommy was flipping burgers. My good friend Tommy is flipping burgers. You're flipping burgers. There is no way in hell a CEO for which you are flipping burgers for is worth 1,000 times your income. Absolutely not. There is where you don't know your worth if you think that's okay. You don't know your worth. And what I'm trying to tell you is this. Remember, every dollar that CEO makes, it's money not paid you for the work that's bringing him his income. We have to hold on, Tommy. I want to finish this because I want the entire audience on this 100,000 watt transmitter to hear this. People, let me tell you this. This is important. We have been indoctrinated into believing that somehow while you are doing the work, that executive is somehow worthy of whatever they don't pay you. There has to be a better compact. I'm not saying that the CEO should be making the same as the burger flipper. That's not what I'm saying at all. They have a whole lot more responsibility. That responsibility does not equate into 1,000 times your worth. And that is where we have to
I know our mental divide, if I could answer it for you.
Yes, real quickly, and then I got to go.
It's not the burger flipper that is making the guy the money. It is the market. It is the people, the customers.
I love that you
make the
said
money.
that. You see,
It
you
is.
just earned yourself 30 seconds more. Let me tell you why. There's this thing called the mythical market. You know what the mythical market is?
We need to come back on my show, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
No problem.
Go
The
ahead.
mythical market is that thing that the plutocracy uses to absolve itself from the responsibility of stealing from you. The mythical market is that. Hold on, hermano, my dear brother. The mythical market is it's the abstraction of guilt. Okay? Because what I'm saying is that market can always be used to say, so why is that CEO making so much? Because the market dictates it. The market doesn't dictate a damn thing. What dictates it is the way they have created a structure to rip you off. I got to go. Tommy, I'm going to have the last word on this one just this time around. Okay, we talk another time. All right, brother?
I'll try to call you. I can't call you every time because I'm driving,
No
but
problem.
I'll try to keep in touch.
Hey, I appreciate you. You stay cool, brother.
All right, brother.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. All right, let's go to Joe and then MOD. Come on in, Joe.
Hola, Beto.
Oh, ¿cómo estás, hermano?
Bien, bien. Gracias. Hey, I just want to say that, man, I think you're brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not, I wouldn't say I lean far left or far right or anything like that. I just believe that people should have the ability to be happy, to
Amen.
find what they're looking for in life.
Amen.
Without any restrictions. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And if we have to come together to make it all happen and get away with borders or do away with borders or money, I mean, maybe I'm progressive, maybe I'm too progressive, maybe I'm too far left, I'm not sure. I just don't like where we're at now.
Let me tell you something, Joe, and it's you who are going to make a difference, all right? And I mean that from the depths of my heart. It is you who are going to make a difference because there are more of you out there than the others, but the others are louder. And not only that, what the others do is they play on your basal instinct. My basal instinct is to fear somebody that's different. My basal instinct is to kind of, if I think you're coming out here to take what's mine, but when we attenuate that basal instinct to realize that there is enough for everybody, and not only that, we are really alike. We all are. When we have those fighting for those realities, then we can move forward. But you see, the plutocracy knows better. They have to keep me at your throat. Telefono. They have to keep you. They have to keep us at our throats, each other at our throats. Because if they don't do that, oh, I think line 4 is ringing. If they don't do that, what happens then is we start to see where the problem really lies, Joe. Here's the deal. You are the future, and you have to make your voice heard because that is how we force those guys out. I promise you that.
You know, I work in the kitchen, man, in the Woodlands, and man, some of my best friends are. I mean, they're just great workers. People, you know, they're from Congo, they're from Mexico, Venezuela,
right?
Things like that. These people are oppressed way more than we are,
yes.
And they have a voice as well. They need to be heard. I'm also a musician, and we write songs about it and things like that. But it's just, man.
Joe, let me tell you, brother. You stay engaged. You keep your voice up, and when it comes to talking about the other people that don't have a voice, you talk for them, and we'll make a better place. I am not doing this for failure, man. We're going to make this place a better place, brother.
Let's do it, brother.
Anything else you want to say, sir?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
You have a wonderful day now.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, MOD, line 2. Come on in, MOD.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
That last call really hits a heartbeat, don't it?
Of course, and you know why it hits a heartbeat? Because it's real. Yeah. Joe is real. And you know what else Joe represents, MOD? Joe represents most Americans. We are not a natural want to fight each other. We have to have an external catalyst that does that to us and put us against each other. If we have enough of the forces like Joe, hey, things will be fine. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm afraid, though, that the catalysts we're talking about would be something that would be a utopian-like kind of call that will be. But what do you think of the current election, the debates?
Well, I mean, I don't think the debates were like super substantive. What I think the theatrics were great.
Yeah. What seems to be this theme this time around, the Yurto might be more. The study groups, I think they're all reacting to what's called a populace. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the narrative now.
Right.
I hear a theme across all of those 20-some candidates, whatever, and it sounds like the Bernie
Well, no,
movement
let me correct
kinda-
you there. Let
Go
me
ahead,
correct you there.
please.
There are very few of them that are Bernie-like. We have Elizabeth Warren, that is a real Bernie-like candidate. We have, of course, the mayor in New York, de Blasio. And then, of course, we have Kamala Harris that is kind of going back and forth, back and forth. She wants to be a progressive, but she's scared. She wants to be a progressive, but she's scared. I don't hear any other candidate that is like rings my progressive bell. I mean, we have some of them that actually sound downright conservative to me, but as far as them being all progressive, oh no,
No, populist.
no, not even populist. If you listen to Gillibrand or any of the others, you don't. A populist is a I don't see it. Maybe you can.
Well, what I mean is, that you go on the last caller. You know, a voice that represents the social collective.
Yes,
that's my definition of populist, and the populist would be the things that sound good.
Right.
You know, the things that would, instead of, like you said, let the markets correct themselves. The Reaganomics. That cycle is done.
Right.
So what I see another thing with this stick right now is they're all lockstepped in barrel with AOC sustainable development. I haven't heard one go against it yet. Have you?
No, but you love that. You love to get onto that subject. So I mean, I'm going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and tell the people what that is.
Well, it's basically something that came around in the 30s, and it didn't have much weight then. But a guy wrote a book called A Tale Between Two Ages in 1971 by Z. Big Brzezinski, and the Carnegie endowments and the Rockies and all those folks said, "Man, this is how we can do it." So it's more of a technocratic order, and the Sunshine Movement and all that stuff, Roberto, is from this theme. I'm telling you that is called the Green New Deal now, and the Green New Deal is not touched by any person in this Congress ever until this actor came in, and she's carrying the torch. And it's funny, they're all rushing to get in line with it now as far as the Democrats
and I am too,
platform.
Right.
And so what's concerning is that it has a utopian aroma to it, a smell, like to Joe, the last caller. We should get rid of borders. We should, and on those tugging those heartstrings of the people. This is how it's coming. In so much as Francis presented in 2015 for the first time in the UN Senate, a summit, a pope opened with these 17 principles. So it's now called 2030, and Blasio is running to it too. And these folks that are avoiding taxes, they see opportunities, and these are called opportunity zones.
Okay.
And so I'm going to tighten it down and go back to what
real
I'm
quick
saying
because I got to go to the other call.
Is we're witnessing right now a technocratic order, Roberto, that it won't matter who's elected in 2020. The distraction, that just hearing the cries like this last caller, Roberto. I want you to keep on doing what you're doing. I'm not going to criticize what you do because that's this.
Yeah,
only
just
place
make your
we can
point,
get
my
this.
friend. Make your point. It's okay.
That's it. That keep on doing what you're doing. But this other thing with Sunshine Movement is from the Club of Rome. I know it sounds a little far-fetched, but there's a bigger narrative going on. I want your listeners to at least look at a site called technocracy.news.
Okay, folks, he's
guys.
just technocracy.news is what he wants you to look at. So you got your plug-in. Thank you, my
Okay,
brother.
thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. Okay, let's go to Brad. Come on in, Brad.
Hey, Egberto, how are you doing?
So far, so good, my friend.
Do you think Kamala Harris is an African American?
Does it matter?
No, I'm just curious. Well, it does matter because everyone's now crying racism, even though apparently the ones that were complaining about this first were black people.
Let me just put it this way. Kamala Harris is a black woman. Let me tell you something before you go any further, because this is quite interesting, right? I got into a discussion on Facebook recently about ADOC, okay? The African American Descendants of ADOS, the ADOS movement, okay? And there were some issues that I had with what they were talking about, the ADOS movement, which is African American Descendants of Slaves. And my friend responded, "You don't matter. You are not ADOS." Okay? Because, and I think you are sort of hitting something of that nature. In other words, look, let me tell you how I see this whole issue, because I think the debate about Kamala Harris being an African American or other is a silly discussion. When I walk into any part of this country, nobody sees that I'm Latino. Nobody sees that I'm Caribbean. I'm just an old black man. Okay? So, when you hear people say, oh, is Kamala Harris African American? Is she Indian? Is she whatever? It doesn't really matter, because when Kamala Harris walks into a room, the only thing anybody sees is a black woman walking into that room. So what is their point, my dear brother?
Right. Do you consider yourself African American?
I am a black man.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I consider myself. I'm a black man. I'm a Latino. I'm a Caribbean man. That's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. When people ask those questions, those are the three. In fact, I wrote a blog last night, and it said, "This black, Latino, Caribbean man, if he could change, anybody can change." Because I was talking about other issues.
Well, I'm a white boy, but I'm still cannot play the funky music. Let me ask you a question.
Hold on a second, Brad. I wanted to say one thing. Folks, we have open lines, 713-526-5738. And Chris, I'm coming to you next. 713-526-5738. We have wide open lines. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah. Who gets the award for the Democratic debate? Who gets the award for dumbass of the debate?
Let me see. I'm trying to think here. Who did you give it to?
Julian Castro.
Why?
Well, the Democratic Party, just like how the Republicans have to cater to the far right in the primaries, the Democrats are catering to the far left.
Really?
Yeah, you know that, of course. That should make you very happy. Well, there's the question about abortion, like should the taxpayers pay for abortions? And Julian Castro thinks not only should women all get, abortions, may have the taxpayers pay for it, some abortions, but he even supports trans women having abortions, the right to abortions. Guess what, Egberto?
What?
We don't have the scientific technology for trans women to get pregnant because they were born men.
I think there were some parts of that discussion, because I didn't quite know where he was going, but that is because I figured that was just because of my own ignorance. I don't quite understand what he was talking about. So instead of talking about it, I didn't understand, so I had to go back. I don't know.
It's called pandering. Well, and when you start pandering, you start looking like a fool.
Okay, Brad. We try to be positive here, but no, pandering. Everybody panders, and everybody panders to some extent. You probably do as well, right? Hey, but look, my line just lit up crazy, so I got to go, Brad. Thank you so kindly for calling, and let me tell you before you go, though. Be careful on that African-American black thing and learn what I just talked about, because it is important, all right?
Final thing.
Real quick,
yes. If there are reparations, since Kamala Harris had an ancestor who owned slaves, do you think she would just be writing herself a check?
No, because as it turns out, like I said, she's not ADOS. So you have a good one, my brother.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, Chris, numero 4. Come on in, Chris.
Hey, Egberto, I just caught your comments right before you started taking calls where you were couching arguments with a conservative kind of tinge.
Yes.
So you're getting close to the unity politics. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear you're coming along now. On that note, have you figured out plutocracy versus oligarchy?
Yes. Absolutely.
What did you settle on?
I think it's going to be plutocracy. I mean, oligarchy, I don't know. I'm kind of stuck with the plutocracy. I'm stuck with it. Yeah.
Plutocracy, Pluto ain't even a planet anymore. That's going to be the response for people. They're not going to get that. We still need to work on that.
Why do you have me revisiting this stuff again, man?
But that piece of my point of unity politics, because during Occupy and during the Tea Party,
yes,
they were talking about the same problems with different language.
Yes.
On the Tea Party side, they were saying crony capitalism and other terms.
You know what? You know what I like with your call, Chris? You gave me another show. Let's actually go ahead and do that for another show. You know what? Why? Because I like that idea about, let's talk about the unity thing that we discussed on before. So let's do that. All right, I got to go to another call.
Let me just for that show.
Yeah.
There's two wings of that I can think of right off the top of my head. Corruption. That everyone's anti-corruption. That's great unity politics.
Okay.
That goes to the plutocracy versus crony capitalism, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But also efficiency.
Right. Okay.
If you frame Medicare for all in terms of how more efficient it is.
Chris, I gotta go. Drop me a line. You know
I'm
where.
sorry.
How to find
Okay,
me.
go ahead.
All right, brother. Bye. Okay, Roberto, línea número 2. Come on in, Roberto.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my brother.
I consider myself the same as you. I'm a Negro. I was born in Panama as well.
We somos panameños, hombre.
You know, exactly. But let me say this concerning this reparation thing.
Yes.
My humble opinion is, I'm a Negro.
Yeah.
I don't want the reparations. Don't write me a check.
But look here,
don't do me a favor. Give me equal opportunity.
Right.
And respect. Right. I will earn my 40 acres and double that. I will earn my mule and double that as well.
Hey, listen to the show that I had on reparations, because I have some interesting concepts on reparation. First of all, we're from Panama. We don't qualify, but you know the truth. The truth of the matter is, we go out there and we bust our butts and do stuff. You know what it's all about.
Exactly.
But by the same token, Roberto, let me tell you something, okay?
Yes, sir.
I am not going to. For that guy was trying to get me talking about African Americans and all of that. I wasn't going to go there. But what I want to say is this: I am going to be an ally to African Americans. Okay,
I will as well.
In other words, if they want reparations and they have all these policies, as an activist, as a progressive activist, I will be an ally. Okay,
I'll agree.
But I mean,
the history is deeper than being an African American. If you go deep into it,
well, yeah, we know that.
You know,
Roberto,
I consider myself. I'm of the seed. I'm of the remnant of the seed of Jacob.
Okay, there you go.
And there you go, right there.
There you go. Look here, Roberto. Thank you so kindly for calling in, my brother. Have a good one. Okay, take care.
Bye.
Okay, let's go to Jamie. Come on in, Jamie.
Jamie, it's me right here.
Yes.
Live and proud.
Hey,
I really appreciate all the good words you say, but I just want to remind everyone out there that we're all citizens of the world.
Right.
Okay?
We are.
We're all citizens of the world. So that love that you have for somebody, display it throughout the world. It doesn't matter. Race is not an issue. Because whenever I end up your baby daddy, it's all good, right?
Jamie, I'm with you, my brother. You're absolutely right. Estás completamente correcto, because the truth of the matter. Yes. Anything else you want to add, sir?
We're on this world together, okay? I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, whatever colors, red, blue, green.
Hey.
If you're an alien, come on.
Jaime, that's what I've been preaching. But sometimes when you're preaching that, what you have to do is you have to go to the underlying issues that's creating that friction, and that's what we do.
That's what you do, and you do it so well, and I appreciate your commentary. And look, I'm brown. I'm in between black and white. Okay, I'm brown.
Right.
And I'm blessed with the name Jamie or Jaime, if you want to call it that way. But I'm the white America, so that peace.
Thank you, hermano.
We're all citizens of the world.
Absolutely. Brother, I got to go to the other call. We're running out of time. Thank you so kindly.
I love you.
Love you too, brother.
Thank
you have
you
a good
so much.
one. All right, brother. Bye-bye. Okay, Harold, come on in. Harold?
Yes. You just mentioned about the debate. There's no real progressive candidate.
No, I didn't say. I said there were, as far as I am concerned, there were 4 progressive candidates that I called progressives, and the others I couldn't really.
Yeah, but I think the one most progressive, you missed them. I guess the whole America is just too racist to consider him.
Who is that?
Andrew Yang.
You know something? By the way, you know something? I am wrong.
Well, I think
Harold,
totally not electable
Harold,
because
I am
there are
wrong.
too many people would not vote for him.
Harold. First of all, let me first tell you, you're right. I am wrong. I simply forgot about Andrew Yang. I completely forgot. And there's another one I forgot about also, and that is Castro. Castro, Andrew Yang. So 6 of them. I'm sorry. You're right. So you corrected me, sir.
Yeah, I think he's the most progressive among the, but he's totally not electable because he just won't get enough votes.
Let me correct that. Let me correct that, okay? It's not that he's not electable. It's that he's going to be made not to be electable. Those are 2 different things, sir.
Yeah, you only get 2 Americans during the whole debate.
Right. Listen to me. Please. Americans would elect Andrew Yang, and not only, and I'm telling you, the base American population would. His problem is to get to the American people through the vote. So no. I mean, it's not the American people; it's an establishment that would be his biggest drawback.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
You earn my respect because you admit that you are wrong.
Oh, of course. I mean, you always do that. You have a great day, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, come on in, William.
How you feeling, Egberto? I want to go back to Iran. We had a very short conversation last week.
Yes.
The European Union is not going to allow the United States to make another explosive immigration problem. They took the brunt of all this stuff.
Right.
On all accounts. They're not. So Iran is going to be able to use backdoor diplomacy with the European Union, and it's just total baloney. Now, you do remember 9/11, and I've said this before, the day after 9/11, every major country from Europe, not Eastern Europe, Europe
30 seconds,
said
sir.
the great Satan resides in the United States,
okay,
which is what I've been blacklisted about, and the people who were messing with me were involved with all this stuff. Anyway, there's one other thing. The lady that's running from Alaska that's an ex-4-star general, is she even in the debate?
Yes.
She is.
Yes. William, I've just got a hard break. Okay, I got to go, but I got a hard break. Thank you. Okay, folks, thank you so kindly for listening to Politics Done Right. I think I have about 10 more seconds to tell you this. Be here next week. We talk all these things that are so kindly important. Listen to me. This is Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, and you know how I end this baby.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3.